Well, hello everybody, and I really hope you're enjoying this second virtual model railway exhibition on the 7th and 8th of November. Today I'm chatting to another guest and a really good friend, better known from Twitter for Teatime with Matthew. It's my good friend Matthew Alden-Farrow. Good day, Matthew. How are you?
Good day. I'm doing well, Lawrence. How are you?
I'm fit, fine and well. We seem to be chatting from the model room.
Yes, indeed. This is where the magic happens. I've assembled many a kit model in here, and as you can see, I'm showing off my two lovely 16mm scale locomotives. So, yeah, special room, this.
Absolutely. Now, I first met you on Biggest Little Railway when we were both fighting with the Scottish Midge, but I understand your history with railways goes back a lot further. From memory, I believe you used to volunteer on the Nene Valley.
Yes, and indeed I still do, but actually the history goes back further than that. I've got videos and photographs from the, I think, 15-inch gauge railway down at Syon Park. The chap who used to run that, a chap called Richard Niven, we got on quite well with him, me and my family. We went to visit a few times, and he actually let me drive his miniatures versions of Royal Scot and Coronation Scot. So there's photos of me around 5 years old, absolutely covered in coal dust and soot. And I think it was kind of set from there that railways were definitely going to be my thing. As for the Nene Valley, I joined them back in the latter half of 2012. I think the first thing I did there was volunteering as a trolley dolly on their Santa specials. Worked my way up through the ranks. I'm now a qualified guard with them. So quite a long history to work from.
Absolutely. And of course, you parlayed that now into going and working on the full-size railway. Now, you were one of about 50-plus lunatics who joined me up in Scotland for Biggest Little Railway. Did you enjoy the experience?
Oh, gosh. It would be remiss of me to say no, really, wouldn't it? Yes, of course I did. It was fantastic. Hard work, and I think if we all went and did it again, I think you and I both know, Lawrence, there are a lot of things we would do differently. But on the same token, I think I wouldn't change anything, because it wasn't perfect, but it was still brilliant. Even the most horrendous bits. I remember walking through the pouring rain with the loco crew driving Silver Lady. And I remember we came across a particularly horrible bit where we dived off of the road and onto a footpath that sort of was a bit of a way off the main road. And it just flooded. We were driving this poor little engine through a stream, basically. And it was not my happiest moment, put it that way. But even that I wouldn't change for the world, because hell of a story to tell.
It was an amazing series, and of course, for those of you that have not seen it, it's still available on More 4. Just search for Biggest Little Railway. So I won't give away the ending. But at the end of filming, Silver Lady went off to live on a very, very special shelf at Roundhouse. And that was the last I saw her. But what did you do, Matthew?
Well, I was hooked on the idea of live steam locomotives. So the day I got home, I opened a new savings account and started putting a few pounds a month in there, £50 a year, £50 there, Christmas money, birthday money. When I left my previous job and started working on the big railway, I was given a leaving present, and my colleagues had each put in a bit of money, and they gave me about 100 quid. And by the end of that, I'd saved £2,000. So I went to Roundhouse, put the order in, and here she is.
And she's looking in much better condition than the one we finished with.
Yes, indeed. She's had a couple of little knocks on the cylinder blocks and things, but still in much better nick than the television one.
Absolutely. Now, that gives you a loco, but you then need somewhere to run it.
Yeah, see, that was a bit of an issue, because at the time I'd started saving, I was still living with my parents. My partner and I moved in together late last year. We bought a house in Bletchley, and I had a little bit of garden, and it was around then I sort of started sketching out ideas. It's not a massive garden, so I had to keep the space, quite compact. So I did a design. It's like a single loop and then a triangle which leads off to a terminating station. So a lot of options for sort of running around. There's a passing loop, small one in the loop. So it's just lots of interesting little bits to play with. And then, of course, the plague happened. So I found myself, when not working, very unbusy. So at that point, took a spade and thought, right, well, if I don't start now, I'm never going to. And I started digging the garden up.
And I remember seeing pictures of cardboard formers as concrete was being poured.
Yes, the thinking behind that, I was originally going to knock up a plywood structure, but again, COVID did kind of impact some of the decisions I made. So, for instance, the cardboard was because I couldn't get hold of any plywood. So we had a load of old cardboard boxes knocking about. I ordered some tent pegs to hold them in place, pinned them to each side of the little trench I dug, and then poured concrete in the middle. 1 or 2 leaks, but on the whole, generally successful. So I think if you're looking to do something like this on the cheap and you are going for sort of a ground level track, I would highly recommend the dig out and cardboard method.
Well, it seems to have worked because we've obviously got the pictures that we're putting with this interview. Having got the base down, whose track did you use?
We use Pico SM32 in the end. I looked at a couple of options and that was by far the best I could see. It's very hard wearing. It can take a bit of punishment. I've stood on it a couple of times and it hasn't broken yet. So, yeah, good recommendation.
I've seen the plan and I noticed no sections of plastic guttering that we used in Scotland. How is it actually running?
At the moment, I'm sort of partway through construction. So what I've done now is I've screwed the track down to the concrete base. And rather than drilling through the track, I've found some P-clips and screwed through them. Because my thinking is, if I ever move, I want to take all the track with me. So I thought in terms of getting it up without damaging it again, that's a better solution. So I'm thinking ahead. I've still got to lay ballast, so the track is a bit wobbly, or as I put it, it's authentic biggest little railway.
Maybe you'll need one of Dick's hockey stick handles to hold it in position. But you're right about lifting the track, because another mutual friend of ours I know had enormous problems when he moved house, and he's not been able to yet put the new track, well, the existing track back in, so having it come up and be movable.
Absolutely.
How do you now like being one of those rare people who has his own miniature live steam railway in the garden?
It's fantastic. I'm talk of the mess room at work. Everyone always asks me, having seen the pictures on Facebook, oh, how's the railway looking? Yeah, have you done this? Have you done that? So that's really good. I'm loving it. It's the only thing anyone wants to see when they come around to my house. It's like, well, this is the house. We've done the kitchen up. This is what we've done upstairs. Yeah. Let's just go in the garden.
Does the railway have a name, or the station have a name yet?
It does. The railway is operated under the company of the Turing and Strawbridge Light Railway Company Limited. Now, you'll probably notice a couple of the reference in there. Strawbridge, of course, a little nod to Biggest Little Railway. And Turing, which is the main terminus, is named after Alan Turing, obviously the famous computer expert who had a distinguished career at Bletchley Park, yep. Which is just around the corner from me. So it felt like the obvious choice. Now,
in addition to all your hard work on the railways, obviously, as I mentioned at the top of the interview, we come to Tea Time with Matthew. For those who have not actually seen it yet, what does that entail?
Right, Tea Time with Matt is a online live stream show, which it's comedy and chat, basically. It is based in part on the radio show I did at university of the same name, but it's kind of evolved over the years as it's moved from platform to platform. It's currently on YouTube. And what it entails is I'll write a couple of features. I do a couple of things like, for instance, common sense advice, where I take what would be normal advice and put a funny spin on it, just to give you an example. But then the bulk of the show is me talking to the audience and getting their sort of experience based on the theme, because there is a theme each week. I did one last night, which was a theme around nostalgia, because let's face it, none of us actually enjoyed living in 2020. So the framing device for the show was, what years would you rather be living in? Okay. And we had a great deal of fun chatting over what years we'd like, the music from those years, what the notable events are. And yeah, it's great fun. And if anyone is around at any point and fancies joining in, it is a good laugh, and the railway does get a mention.
Brilliant. Now, in addition, whilst we have locos to one side of you, we have a significant number of Daleks to the other.
Yes, big fan of Doctor Who. I've always been fascinated by Daleks. Now, the reason I've got so many is I do little part animated things on YouTube using the models, which the reason I like Daleks so much is I think they're ripe for comedy.
Oh, yes.
Because after all, they are a reflection of humanity, and, you know, humanity at its worst. So I kind of flip that on its head and go, right, but what if it was, instead of humanity at its worst, what if you had Daleks trying to be at their best?
I'm not insane, obviously.
And it kind of leads to some quite funny and, you know, humorous situations. So, yeah, I've made videos about that. And as a result, amassed quite a collection. So,
well, you have. I can't see a full-size one there, so you might have to have a chat with our mutual friend Simon, who does have a full-size Dalek in his house.
Yes, that is on the bucket list, shall we say. I will own a full-size one before my life is out. But at the moment, space a bit of a premium, so that may have to wait until I've moved on from where I currently am.
Okay. Well, look, Matthew, thank you for opening up the world of the Turin and Strawbridge Railway, letting us see your models today. Every success with working that layout forward, and I look forward to coming up at some point when COVID-19 restrictions are lifted and maybe having a little drive on the railway.
You would be very welcome, and thank you for having me today.
It's been a pleasure. Matthew, look after yourself.
Take care. You as well.